So, after I made last week's video, the mail came and Scary Godmother arrived. I have, of course, well, you might have noticed, I did post my box opening and first impressions video. I haven't done a lot with her, so my impressions with her are still pretty good. I realized that if I knew more about Scary Godmother as a character, I know some people, it's her absolute most favorite, beloved childhood character. I might feel more strongly about this doll as Scary Godmother instead of just as a doll. But just as a doll, especially a small run doll, she's pretty good because I remember in the early 2000s when I was completely immersed in the world of action figures, you get action figures from small companies that had some odd design decisions or weird quality control issues, and she's better. She's nice. I might do something to tweak her elbow articulation. Now that I look at it, there might be a way to carve something out just a little bit so she can bend her elbow even more, but I might not. And once I took her hair down though, she has great hair. I took her hair out of the band and I just love the way it falls. And it's super soft. The doll I had with kind of similar hair before was this one. This is a repainted head from a Wilco doll. Wilco is the kind of doll that you sometimes find in like Dollar General and Dollar Tree. Not the $1 stores. She's a little more expensive than that. And I put her on a Project MC squared body, and this is actually the third one of these that I'd had. The first two I kept pristine and perfect and took great care of their hair and didn't touch their faces, and eventually moved them off to new owners, new homes. And this one I actually thrifted and got her off of. They originally have this like short wire articulated body with enormous feet, and she bounced around. She was on live bodies for a while, but eventually she got her on this Project NC squared body and repainted her face. And this hair is just completely different from this hair. This hair is like dry and crunchy, and this hair, very Scary Godmother's hair, is so soft. And as you can see, Scary Godmother fits. This is a dress I made for Barbie a couple years ago for the Fashionistas, Articulated Fashionistas size Barbie, which is the 1999 belly button body Barbie size. And it has a slightly smaller waist than the dolls that we're getting now, the new Fashionistas and the Made to Moves. So she can wear Barbie clothes. They might end up a little short on her, but as far as skirts and shirts goes, no problem. I haven't tried pants, I don't know how the hips, but skirts, shirts, dresses, she's fine. So your Scary Godmother has a wardrobe, if she wants. And I did stop at a thrift store on Thursday, and the first surprise was that I found a pivotal Barbie. After a little bit of research, I discovered that this is a Dancing with the Stars waltz Barbie. So she was probably on the shelf somewhere, like maybe Walmart and Target or Toys R Us. So it's not like someone ordered this doll from Barbie Collectibles and then threw her in the thrift donation pile. This probably did belong to some kid. I think it came out in 2010 or 2011. So it is, and it's the slightly modified pivotal with the Articulated Fashionistas hands, which are better than the pivotal hands. She does have terrible glue head. It's really hard, and I cannot tell if it's seeping because a slick back, the slickness would actually benefit this hairstyle. So I'm not sure what I'll do with her. I'm not sure if she will keep this head, or if she does keep this head, if she'll keep the hair. I'm not sure if I'm fond of the, I'm going to rotate her so you can see, sparkly eyeshadow. But I am just still, I never thought I would find a pivotal in the thrift store. And the other doll I found in the thrift store was Gingerbread House, who I was shocked to see had both of her hands still. You don't see that on loose Ever After High Monster Highs much. I was so taken with the fact that she had hands, I didn't notice that somebody had tried to chow down on her foot. But that's okay. She might not keep these feet. I might try something else as far as replacing feet goes. Because another thing I found on the random toy table was this foot. And you might say, yeah, it's 1 foot. What are you going to do with that? Well, the thing is, a few years ago on another random toy table, I found this foot. John has informed me that these are from a sort of gimmicky swimming Barbie that had articulated knees and probably mechanical action and nothing else. So that's why I'm sure these came from 2 completely different dolls, and they probably fall apart very easily. I think I could figure out how to grind out a leg to get this in, because these Ever After High dolls have vinyl legs, so it's not like, if it was hard plastic, then you could like cut the foot off and pop it apart and then maybe carefully grind out the inside and get these in. But I think with the fact that vinyl is soft when it's heated, I might be able to get these onto her. Maybe. Sometime in the future. Possibly. But you might have noticed that she's wearing, get her necklace straight, wearing a lace dress. And that was the big thing. I bought another grab bag of cloth. The main thing that caught my eye in it is because it had a bunch of old fake flowers in it. And there's nothing like the look of an old fake flower. And then I saw a little bit of lace, and of course all the cloth. I saw a cloth that looked like it could be useful for making like just this blue knit that I can make in heavy knit. Well, it turned out to be double knit, but I can make like just quick, simple pants for the kiddo. And actually, the bottom of the lace are like 4 yards of narrow wale baby corduroy. So the kiddo's probably gonna get pants made out of that too. It's dark blue, so that was a surprise. But also in the grab bag were like a handful of lace scraps of varying lengths. None of them too long. Probably none of them even a yard long. Maybe none of them even a half yard long. I didn't measure. I just started using them because I got home and I sorted everything out and I had all this lace on my sorting area, and I thought, I didn't need this. I don't want to take the time to pull down my lace case and stuff all of this in there to be forgotten about. I'm going to start sewing doll dresses from it now. And actually, this was the first dress I sewed. And I used all of this lace except this. This was probably what I had the most of, to the point where I just in the end said, ugh, I'm just going to make the rest of it into a scarf. See, I did sew the ends. It's not just a piece of lace, it is a scarf that I have a feeling I would probably use quite a bit eventually. But so this was a good start in the goals of actually using up all the lace. Now the way I attach the lace to each other is I have my straight stitch presser foot, and you see how narrow that opening it is? That's meant to do just straight stitch. A zigzag stitch foot has this much of an opening, so you can zigzag wide. But the thing is, even with this straight stitch foot, if I set it narrow enough, I can fit a zigzag in between this foot. And if I set it fairly dense, that's what I did. Set it up about 1 or 2, a 2, yeah, 2. My sewing machines, some sewing machines, the lower the number, the larger the stitch, because it's stitches per inch. And some machines, the lower the number, the smaller the stitch, because it's millimeters, or some made up thing about the small ones being small. So I lower it down to 2, so it's a very close set stitch with a tiny zigzag, and that's how I attached the lace layers to each other for most of these dresses. And part of the reason I was able to jump into this project is because the color of thread that was in my machine was good color to go. So, and you might be able to tell I was able to gather some of the lace a little bit to get the bell shape. So gathered this lace and then laid it under this lace and zigzagged over it. And a couple times I'd do that and I'd pick it up and I'd check the back, and there'd be big areas where I would just have missed the bottom. So we'd just rearrange that and zigzag over it again. No one's looking close, and when you do look close, it's kind of hard to see the zigzags. So, and I made this dress with the bodice size for older Barbies, so it fits curvy just fine. And then the next set of lace I just started stitching together again. There was no plan to this. I had no idea what this dress would end up looking like once I started. Like, the reason it has bell sleeves is because that's what was left of the cloth that I made this part out of. And I just cut it in half and gathered it and zigzagged it onto this, and this are the same. So I used it all up, made myself use it all up, and I think it turned out fine. And then the next set of laces I grabbed and just started stitching together. Something about it started looking like it was a little more formal and should be a little more tailored than a billowy gown like this. And so that meant if I was going to make this more tailored, then I wanted to use a solid cloth. And it turned out that a cloth that I'd thrifted in a previous thrift store grab bag was just the right color and sheen of pink. So I ended up making this. Now I'd used the bodice for the Articulated Fashionistas, which is the belly button Barbie size body. So it's a little big and fancy, but I really wanted her to wear it. And I actually put snaps in, as opposed to the Velcro that I put on this and all the other lace dresses I made. So, you know, the fact that I sewed in snaps meant that I was trying to be fancy. And I think this has a nice vintage look to it. I probably could have done without this lace on the bodice, but like I said, I was trying to use it all. And there were only like 2 scraps of this. I did not use the other one of these, but that's okay. So I'm happy with the way this turned out. And I was happy to discover that this, even though this is an old synthetic, it does not shred as soon as you cut into it. You're going to probably fray check to the edge of hard to use cloth as soon as you cut it to keep it from fraying long enough for you to sew it, but I don't have any fray check. So I think this one turned out well. Again, I did not plan this. If I had planned this, it would not, I have a feeling I couldn't have done it. I just let it happen. And then the next dress I sewed was this one. This only uses 2 laces, this really wide lace, and then this fairly narrow lace that I kept thinking, that looks like the Overwatch logo, but I'm not sure you can even tell, or Pac-Man. So this is a much simpler lace dress, wide lace, narrow lace. And I actually, for this dress, I relied on the fact that the lace has a scallop to it, so she'd have a little bit of room for the neck, even though it's still a little high. This one I actually cut out, and then I zigzagged several times over it with this gathered stuff. This dress is going to someone as thanks, don't tell. And then the next thing I sewed, I decided I would sew this dress. Since this gal had not at that point had any clothes, and since she was thrifted doll. Thrifted at the same time, I thought it seemed like it would be good to make it for her. Again, this is, I did cut out the neckline, and it's because there was no good scallop. The way the scallop in this lace relates to the figures in the lace, it was offset, and for this one I didn't want it to be off-center, but I did eventually when I got the last scraps of it, which I will show you. So I cut it out, and I did gather this thing for the neckline, but I attached it, see, wrong sides together. I gathered this one and just stitched it straight on. This one, I gathered it, I attached them wrong sides together, then flipped it over and sewed it down over the top. So we have this almost flat laying because I gathered it just a little bit. Not because I knew what I was doing, I gathered it just a little bit because that's all the lace that I had. This little bit of lace was trimmed off of some other lace to get a flat edge on something. I don't even remember what. So, there's the Ever After High / Monster High size dress. I do have, I think, a little bit of this. No, I did use it all in the last. I thought I would have a little bit of this. I really like this with the pink edging on it, but the goal was not to save stuff. I thought I would save just a little bit, but I went ahead and used it. The last thing I made was a shirt because I didn't have enough for the dresses. So there's that. And as far as modesty goes, I mean, this obviously has a whole solid cloth under it. This one, she is wearing a bodysuit, which is just an old Barbie swimsuit that fits curvy. And this one is, the lace is almost solid enough that you can't see, and she is wearing a pair of fancy thrifted underwear that I have no idea who they're from, but they're really nice. This one, I think, is just, you know, kind of high fashion. And then the last 2 things I sewed, just gathered up what was left of what I had and put this together. I had been hoping this lace that's in the sleeves is really soft. It's really nice, and I was hoping I would use it for the bodice of something, but the way that whoever had used it before had cut it out was you couldn't really center anything and get a good view of the roses. So I used it on this shirt. Again, this is probably going to able to fit curvy, but it can also be more romantically billowing on a smaller doll. And then the very last thing the last thing I made was the scarf. But the last thing I eked out is this shirt. When I did the collar on this one, it was gathered, because if you're going to put something on a curve, it's just going to work out better if you gather it first. And I just zigzagged, again, the narrow, dense stitch several times over the edge of it. So I don't know how durable it is, but whenever I figure out who I'm giving this to, it's going to be an adult, so they should be able to handle it. This is also going into the thanks sewing pile, because I need to get back to thanks sewing. And I have started a project. I went to the Salvage store. Here in the Mid-South, there's a chain of salvage stores. They used to be called Essex, now they're called Bargain Hunt. And it's a weird store. You never know what you're going to find. A lot of it is stuff that other stores couldn't sell. But it's not exactly like a closeout store. Closeout stores are like the things that manufacturers can't sell. And then so the closeout stores buy them because other stores aren't. Salvage stores are things that have been on the shelf in another store. And like there will be, some things will have layers and layers of Target clearance stickers on them. Or we have an Amazon distribution center in the general area. And some things have obviously been returned to Amazon. Some people when they return things are not very honest. But the things that can't be sold once they've been returned will go to the salvage store. And sometimes there'll be one of something. And sometimes there'll be just a whole aisle full of stuff. It's like I got that Silkstone. It's about a year ago. I got that Silkstone in this salvage store for like $25. And I still haven't done anything with that Silkstone because she's still a little too posh for me. But, so I went into the salvage store and I carried around for a while a blue dress Wonder Woman in an absolutely crushed box for $6. Now the thing about this store is the longer something is there will be a date on most of the price tags, and after a while it'll start dropping in price. But this Wonder Woman had one of the price tags where the date code is not obvious, so I didn't know if she was further reduced or not, and I decided I didn't need her anyway. So I put her back with the two $8 Wonder Woman and Battle Armor dolls that I also did not get. But I did buy a bunch of like 70 and 90% off sets of patches and pins, enamel pins, and just little other, I'm not wording good now. This is actually the second time I record this video. The first time my memory card filled up. And my computer refused to read it because the video hadn't been formatted properly in the end. So I've been talking for a while and I can't remember what I did and did not say in each video. So if I'm particularly incoherent, I'm sorry. But I went in the store and I got all the little pins went on the kiddo because he likes pins all over his jacket. And a lot of the patches, I decided I have this collection of patches and appliques. I need a jacket to put them on. So I grabbed this really tacky but subdued dark gray sort of synthetic denim with flocked leopard print on it. That was in the last thrift bag that all the lace came out of. And I pulled out a pattern that I've been wanting to make a jacket from for a while. So I've started working on this jacket and I'm going to cover it with patches. So I'm not sure if I will have doll stuff for a lot of doll stuff for next week's video, but I could surprise myself with what I get done. We'll find out next week. Thanks for watching.